Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you in Gloves Off, and today I have a great guest, and he's a board member in UISD. It's attorney Javier Montemayor.
Good morning, sir. How are you
Morning.
today?
Good. How's everything?
Good. Very well. Can't complain. Just the heat.
Absolutely.
Need some rain.
But you know what? We grew up here in that. It was the same heat then. It's the same heat now.
Yeah, I just never remember it as hot as it was. When we were kids. We used to drive around with no AC. We used to run around all day. Now it just...
we used to ride around the back of pickups, trucks. You know what I'm saying? You sat down and it burnt you. You just kind of being it. And things were different.
Rubber seats and,
Yeah, it happens. It just changes here. I guess a little bit different. We've kind of either we're getting older, number one, or something less tolerance. I guess that's what it is. I guess that's what's going on.
Talk about global warming one of these days.
We should. I mean, they showed a picture of Boston Bay, lighthouse, and picture taken in the 1800s. And the picture taken down, and the level of the water was still in the same rocks that were outside. You know what I'm saying?
Really? Okay.
So they go, what happened to global warming? It was the same picture. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's some truth behind that, but
I was I was out of town recently, and they issued a heat alert. It was going to be 91 in Colorado, and it was a heat alert there. High temperatures. 91 for me is.
yeah, we're over here.
That's you can get a jacket.
No, absolutely. Well, you're up for re-election, correct?
Yeah.
And how do you see the school season? How do you see what new things you want to implement? What do you think that you say? Okay, we got this that we have to change. What's going on with UISD?
Well, I think UISD has done a great job. Now, we've been an A-rated district academically. Our teachers work hard in the classroom, even with COVID, even when we had to implement our virtual learning programs. We've been preparing for a long time. Since 2013, the district invested probably in the area of about $10 to $12 million back then, and we continue to pump in millions of dollars into our virtual learning programs, our technology. And that prepared us for what COVID brought. And so even though it was very trying, it was a new experience for all our teachers and all our students and all our parents, we made do with what was there, and we got by. And our kids did have suffered a lot of learning loss. So academically, we are in the process of addressing the learning loss that the children have suffered as a result of COVID, so the post-COVID world. Unfortunately, one of the things that has come to the main view of everyone is what happened in Uvalde. My condolences to all the families and the people in Uvalde. It was a tragic event, and pure evil that existed in that kid. But one of the things that we have now, and we've been talking about safety and security for a long time. That was another situation that another project that we had in the 2013 bond. As you know, we have officers at every campus, elementary, middle school, and high school. We have our policies and procedures. We've got a crisis management protocol manual. We've been working on this every year. We have safety and security committees. Right now, today, there's a safety security committee meeting where our district meets with all our first responders, Texas DPS, the Laredo Fire Department, Laredo Police Department, Laredo Border Patrol agents, FBI, anybody who's a first responder, any law enforcement presence, any agency that works in Laredo, is part of that committee, including our own UISDPD. And we talk about ideas, and we talk about protocols, and we talk about safety implementation measures. We are also auditing our own school district. We're looking at all our doors, all our entrances, all our camera systems. We're looking at to see where we can improve our security. Now, the state is going to audit every single school district across the state. 75% of all campuses are going to be audited, including UISD. So not only are we doing that in preparation for the state's audit, but we're doing that to make sure that we know ourselves where our weaknesses and things are. But key for that, Paul, is going to be training.
Absolutely.
I think that our officers today, we have a very good police force, but I think we need to train our officers more. Active shooter training, barricaded shooter training, response training, all the things that were brought out, unfortunately, by some of these different school shootings, the Uvalde shooting,
Sure.
all these things that were brought out, we are looking at how we can improve here at United. I've got items on the agenda coming up, presentations coming up from staff to address, how much money are we spending on safety and security? What percentage of our budget is going to training? How many officers do we have? Are our officers qualifying, with their weapon, with their service weapon? What kind of SWAT team do we have here on campus? What's our response time? All these items are things that we are talking about right now, trying to improve. But in addition to that, the police department's not the only one here. Again, I go back to about the staff, our administrators, our teachers. They're partners in all this.
But there's, and I'm not, number one, our condolences with the families and the suffering that's going on in Uvalde. And it's something that has hit everybody very hard.
Sure.
We do not understand the pain to lose somebody like that, but our hearts are with you. But we also saw a great failure on our law enforcement. And it's sad. You have 376, I think those are the numbers that came out of the Houston Chronicle, that failed miserably. So I don't think it's the training courses, because they all come down out of the TCLOS. This is my opinion. I'm seeing it in a different format. And believe me, I've been dealing with teaching people how to defend themselves for a very long time, in different fields and different areas. And before it was known as a contractor, you were known as executive protection specialist, and we did that. And unfortunately, you learn from your experiences, and you learn from others that are more experienced than you. There was a lot of chaos that went on. There was a lot of blaming, putting fingers, and it was just a failed event on the law enforcement part, period. And the reason I say that is because it took an off-duty border patrolman to go in there and shut this down. And unfortunately, when you see the videotapes, it's saddening. People can get angry, can get frustrating. And to me, I think that's just a mirror image of all the police forces across Texas, because they're all learning the same courses under TCLOS. So there's some change has to be made, whether who is SWAT and who's not. Every department has SWAT. I understand budgets, and I understand that you want to spend money, and I understand all that, but look at what it gave us. You know what I'm saying? So either the courses that are being taught, the instructors that are there that are teaching these are not up to par. We can put this to let's put it in a boxing scenario, okay, to kind of get people together. You can have a boxing gym. There's plenty of them around the United States. A lot of them take their kids to tournaments, fine and dandy, they do a good job. But a lot of them just take them, but their kids never win. So there's something going on there with the coaches, and there's the same coach who's been there for 20 years, and the kids never won anything. Right. You get one that wins a tournament here and there, and then you have schools, and all of a sudden, here comes a Pan American champion, here comes a U.S. champion under that tutelage. So we have to get the people that have been producers
Our instructors.
or the instructors that have been producers of champions
Yeah.
instead of just mass producing. And I think that's what happened here in Texas. It's just mass produce these courses and mass produce the
Like
teachers.
taking an online course, but
Yeah.
have you ever actually practiced that? In theory, and I agree with you, I think it's a completely different situation, and I would hate to come across that and put your theory into practice here with Laredo or Webb County or at any of our schools at United or LISD. I don't want to see that happen, but we have to have our forces prepared.
Yeah.
You're right, and it's the type of preparation that we need. But one thing that also I see is that we need to have our parents involved in this. We need to have our students. Our education starts at home, and so our children need to be
Absolutely.
taught
Absolutely.
what is proper, what is not. But a major situation that goes along with all this, mental health. I'm seeing 2 out of 5. Post-COVID again. Post-COVID, mental health situations. Sometimes kids don't know how to deal with failure. Sometimes they don't know how to deal with emotional issues that they may be suffering.
You have to listen. COVID brought a lot of help within the community,
Yeah.
and a lot of folks were going under, losing their jobs, losing their businesses, losing their homes, losing everything, and it happened. Many of them went down that rabbit hole, and they haven't gotten back out. And we helped many, and I thank God for Pilar of Laredo, because we were sending people there left and right, because there were people that were they were in trouble, and you do that with an open heart and with an extended hand. But our kids are number one, and we have to really look ourselves inside our souls and say, you know what, this is what needs to happen. And the police have to do that too. All the agencies have to.
Yeah.
Do we need 15, 20 SWAT teams in Laredo? No, we need one good one.
One good one.
And that's the only good one we have, and they better be good, and not 15 others, because you failed over here, now you're going to be the SWAT guy over here just because you want that on your back. No, enough of that. We have plenty of those guys. We need one good one. That's the end of the story. Whether it's a sheriff, to me it makes more sense for the sheriff to have it. And if you're in a county like Dallas where it's so spread out, well, guess what? You belong in SWAT, but there's teams. There are 4 or 5 teams already in place.
Yeah. So I'm not in law enforcement. I've been an attorney now for 25
Sure.
years, but I'm not qualified. But I certainly hold the law enforcement in high regard as far as their expertise in this. And these are the individuals that I consult with for a long time. I've been a school board member for almost 12 years now, and I go back to the successes that we've had. But I'm not the type of board member that sits there and just, rubber stamps whatever comes along my desk. We ask questions, we bring up the topics. There's a lot of people in the community who call me and talk to me about, hey, my son is being bullied, or hey, I've got this situation at one of your schools, or the police officers are not there. And this is constant. And so when you're a board member, and if you want to be a board member, sit back and complain and point fingers at things and just bring up the issues and say, I gotcha. Yeah, no, that's not me. If you want to talk about solutions, yeah, I'm the guy that you need to talk to.
Listen, and not because I have you here, but we've dealt with it, and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
We've talked about many issues that have come up and sent your way. This is going on. Let's get down to the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
There is a bullying problem. I think that needs to change. I think there's programs that we can use for that. I think there's things that we can do. You're not going to stop it, because it's part of human nature. It's part of society. It happens.
It just evolves.
It just changes times, and we have to catch that. It's a time frame that a 2-year-old is now a 4-year-old, but still acting like a 2-year-old. You know what I'm saying? The 4-year-old's gonna pick on him, and so we have to be able to, and the teachers have to identify that for them to be able to move forward. You have
to resolve it.
Right. You have an 8-year-old that acts like a 5-6-year-old. The other kids are gonna be, hey, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna. So we have to look at all that's going on.
I'll tell you.
It just and those studies have already been made.
It evolves now into back when we were younger. It was personal bullying and
Sure.
And it still happens, but now it evolves into social
media.
And the use of pictures and the manipulation of pictures and in the widespread message that's sent out. And so we've had to deal with a lot of those situations. We've amended our student code of conduct to address those types of situations. And unfortunately, a lot of times, parents do not know
That it's going on.
what's going on. And I've seen that. I've had those discussions with parents, and the shock that it brings when my child is doing it, or and it's.
Listen, and there's a lot of great studies, and it talks about who are meaner. Are girls meaner than boys meaner? It's totally two different ones. The boy is going to end up, if he starts getting bullied at a young age, he's going to go into violence, and violence will end up leading into stuff that we had, what's going on in Columbine and these shootings that go on, or other things.
Sure.
The kid might end up becoming a violent perpetrator, ends up becoming more powerful, strength-wise, than the ones that used to bully him. Now he ends up being the bully, and then all of a sudden that leads into gang activity and all the other stuff. And then what do? We incarcerate violent men. You know what I'm saying? And what happens to women? We don't do anything to women, but women lead those cliquish things, those mean girl spirit, and you see it. You see it in social media. You see it in meetings that you go to. You see the cliques already forming, and it happens. So we have to be able to understand when to switch that in there, and I think you guys are doing a good job.
Yeah, we've hired.
I think so.
I know we've got about 4, and we're probably getting more licensed professional counselors to deal with these in-house, to deal with some of these situations. And on top of that, I could go on and on and on about the different holes, I guess, that we may have out there. But I'm not going to put United ISD down.
No, it's
it's a very good district.
Let me put it to you this way: pre-2010, United was pretty bad when dealing with bullying. After 2010, 2011, 2012, things like that, things started changing. It started going into a different format and towards treating bullying. And when I moved back down here, back in 2000, one of my pet peeves was bullying. We started a bully proofing program for kids back in Irving, and it was called Bully Proof Your Child. And it was a course that parents came in with their kids, because we saw a different element going into it. We saw the element of kids leading into gangs.
Right.
And you see it in the big cities. You really don't, now you see it in the radio. So we kind of brought in here, and I was sitting down and I was talking with then Sheriff Juan Garza. And so we had a meeting with some people in UISD and LISD and so on and so forth, and they thought I was crazy. The only person that agreed with me was Judge Pepe Salinas. He goes, "Oh, we're gonna have a problem." Sure enough, 2008, we started having the problem, and there was a lot of issues happening with a lot of high schools where they were bullying girls that were young girls that ended up getting pregnant, and some of them ended up committing suicide because of the bullying that was going on. Social media had just started to take place, which was MySpace back then or whatever it was, and it was a big problem. And I remember Judge Salinas telling me, "You told us." And what the option was, LISD brought out a blue shirt. Mm-hmm. If you're bullying, you see somebody bullying, you go tell the teacher that you saw the bully over here, so you were, I forgot and you can wear a blue shirt.
Right, I remember.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah. Was that campaign?
Yeah, and so now what you created with little snitches, and what happened to those kids that were wearing a blue shirt after school? Yeah. They got their ass whipped. You know what I'm saying? And now you have a problem.
You made yourself a marker now.
Yeah. So
on our end, I think our counselors are a very important part of the equation here. Sometimes our counselors are inundated with a lot of administrative duties nowadays, schedule changes, grades, just assigning classes, things like that, and they're the ones that are given the duty of dealing with some of these situations. And so, you know, we need to kind of maybe redo some of our counselor duties and make sure that they are also, you know, aware of some of these things. We have very good counselors. So those are some of the situations. You know, a lot of what's going on now is just, you know, bringing the ideas together and putting them into work. You know, get them to start running with these programs. You know, we have a new police chief. We have it on there, and hopefully he will, you know, bring that department higher than where it's already at. We have some very good officers, and so we're looking forward to it becoming a lot better. And so, you know, the training is something that I'm going to concentrate on, bringing these quality instruction to the district. We have a new campaign, the See Something, Say Something campaign, that's going to be passed on to all our students, all our teachers. Any suspicious behavior, you know, we need to report it as parents, as students. We need to report suspicious behavior. That's the first line.
We have to.
Yeah.
You know, and this is something that we as parents need to understand. Social media, Facebook, what does it say? 18 and over when you register.
Right.
No 15-year-old should be on it. No 14-year-old should be on it. No, you know what I'm saying? Why are they on it? Period. So, it says adult entertainment. So why do you have children and kids that are, you know, on Facebook and on social media and so on and so forth when it specifically says
Snapchat.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Snapchat, Instagram are some of the ones.
But they're some of the worst ones, and you're like, that has to stop now, because that's where you start getting the ideas. That's when people start egging you on. That's where these issues occur. It was done there for a reason, and we're not following that. But that, I blame the parents. I blame the parents for not being involved in the kids' lives.
No.
You're not getting involved with the kid's life. You don't know what they're doing. You just, you know what I'm, and you as a father, and you know that, and you fought to be inside your child's life, and we did the same thing, and that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Now you have that responsibility, and it's okay, you know. Go take it.
Yeah, we have to make sure our children are productive members of our community at some
Absolutely,
point.
absolutely.
And so whatever it takes to get that done is my goal. You know, I have been involved in my daughter's school, you know, since, and I'm a pretty active parent. But you know, different people have different situations. But at UISD, our goal is to educate all the children, make sure that they get the best education possible.
Absolutely.
And become, again, productive members of our community, whether they go to universities and colleges, or whether they go to a technical school or a vocational, or whether they're ready for the workforce right after they graduate. And our graduation rates are 98, 96%. You know, we have pretty consistent graduation rates.
Yeah, of course.
And our kids, you're a product of United Schools, I'm a product of United Schools. And so, you know, our kids do well. Our kids do real well. Yeah. We just need to make sure that they are safe now. And
yeah.
You know, the question is, do we begin to modify our campuses to look like you know, some type of prison system with high fences and security systems all around, or do we you know, have some other approach? And those are the discussions that we've now started to have.
Listen, the reason it has been deterred here is because we do have high fences, and also UISD and LISD has put in there. When Uvalde came out, I was in a discussion board with several people throughout Texas, and one of the ladies brought out on how much the security budget was spent in some of these local. And like Uvalde, I think they had spent like $30-something thousand on their security. And they said, well, you need high fences. They all had 3-foot fences.
Right.
That's why the mom was able to jump over, the one that was arrested outside and detained by U.S. Marshals. And then she said, they take my handcuffs off, I'm not going to go. As soon as we she bolted inside and got their kids out, went back inside and got some other ones out. That's, you know, you shouldn't be able to bolt over a fence.
Yeah.
But so that's something that we have here. We have high fences. I think, to me, the only one that does not, I think it's the old United on Del Mar, the old United High School, which I don't know what it is
United
now.
Middle School now.
I don't know what I think part of it is, part of it's not. I think that needs to be fenced in, period. I have no quarrel with fencing and cyclone fencing at a school whatsoever. If it's going to be for the protection of our kids, I have no quarrel with that.
Yeah,
But you know how much UISD and LISD spent? UISD spent, I can't remember the true figure, but it was over 600,000, and UISD was over 700,000. Houston was the one above it, and Dallas was the one below it. So these are school districts that are safe as can be. You also had an incident in the UISD several years ago where somebody claimed that they was going to go in there and shoot, and it was stopped.
We've had those
And it was taken care of, and the kid was taken care of. You know,
our police department is very, very active in monitoring the social media and monitoring phone calls and threats, and they take it seriously.
Of course.
And they actually do home visits. If they receive a threat from, John Doe's, that he's going to go shoot up the school or going to take a gun, they're at that person's house. They're doing a home safety check. They're communicating with the parents. They're advising of the situation, and we've made a bunch of arrests over the years regarding these threats.
That's a type. It has to be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly.
So and that's what we need to do. And that thing, number one, that's a preventative. It's a number one. Our school fight's going to occur. Yes. Our schoolyard tussle's going to occur. Yes.
All the time.
It's always going to. You're not going to stop that. I mean, kids are going up there. They're going in the social pack. And if you got a bunch of kids that are not going to back down, that's what's going to end up happening. And parents need to understand that a schoolyard tussle is not the same thing as bullying. Totally two different things.
Right.
Bullying's a different entity, and if you get in a fight because you're walking down and you bump into somebody and turns around, that's a fight compared to
bullying.
It's a constant thing, and it can end up being a group of people that are constantly going in there.
Emotional, mental, stress, just constantly.
And people will snap, and I mean, we've seen them. We've had friends that went through that, and unfortunately we did that. But folks, this goes out more to the parents. You guys have to get more involved with the kids' lives. Find out exactly what they're doing. Check their phones. If you pay the phone, open up their phone and say, where you at? Check out every single app that they're on and check out and see what they're doing. Not only because of what goes on in school, you have a lot of sexual predators that are out there. And they're looking down at young girls, young lads. I mean, their cycles are right in the head. That's what they're looking for. And be aware. Be aware that that's out there.
Yeah, if we all contribute and we're all aware and we all report and we all just keep an eye out, we can help law enforcement. We can help our teachers in the classroom. We can help our administrators, and we can help keep our kids safe and keep our staff safe.
Absolutely. One of the first person that brought the word cyberbullying was Mr. Curtis Silva from the Guardian Angels. He had come down here when we had the string of rapes in the north, remember?
I remember.
And he came down with us, and we were told that we were giving Laredo a bad name. It was not us, But anyway, he was the one that told us about that we have a problem now. It's called cyberbullying.
It is.
And he had a great manual back then, so you can imagine what he has done with it now. So maybe you guys should contact the Guardian Angels in New York and maybe see or gang prevention, because they've been dealing with the gang prevention for a long time.
I'll definitely bring it up.
And believe me, Laredo's growing towards the gang issues now. It's no longer about the barrio, what neighborhood you're from anymore.
And a lot as our virtual life is taking shape. And it's now we have virtual gangs. I was having a conversation with Richard Raymond about this now. Virtual gangs are something that exists because our kids now, through their games, are playing with other individuals, and other individuals they're all communicating through their gaming, and so virtual gangs are starting to exist. So, but we're on it. We're going to continue to ask those questions. We're going to continue to demand some answers and continue to improve the district. We're in a good place. Our schools are very good. Our teachers are very good. We're always looking at increasing pay and competitive wages, but you can only do so much. And so, but of major importance is our security.
Absolutely. One thing that school starts
August the 10th.
August 10th. Okay. LISD the second year on the 10th. And okay.
So we're ready.
And the elections are?
Elections are November the 8th. Early voting is October 22nd. So, and if they have any questions, Javier Montemayor, you can reach me through the United ISD website.
All right. And if they want to get involved with your campaign, can they?
They can, definitely can. You can send out a text, and I'm more than glad to call them and see how we can work together.
All right. Folks, y'all, wrapping this up, you all stay safe. Get involved in your kids' lives. I keep saying that to everybody. Get involved in your kid's life. If your kid doesn't play sports, there's different sports out there that your kid might fall into, and get involved. Get involved, period, number one. And you guys preparing for a new school year, have the best time, have fun, learn. That's what needs to happen.
Exactly.
And just
Let our kids be kids.
absolutely. Until next time, much peace.